I see some of you popping in. Hey, Instagram. Good evening, everyone. Well, I guess good afternoon still because it is 3 o'clock. And I'm so excited to be here with all of you. It has been a minute. And if you don't know this face by now, my name is Coach Ronnie B. I am the RelationSHIFT and Resiliency Coach. And what that means is that because the best relationship and the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself, I help people discover tools that they can use for their mind, body, and spirit so that they show up as their highest self every single day of their lives, no matter what life brings to them. And so this afternoon, I wanted to come on here and share with you all 20 tips. 20 tips. If somebody had shared these tips with me or shared them with other people who have experienced some of these things, I think life would have gone a little bit differently. But everybody has their own experience, right? And especially when it comes to marriage, the experience is always unique to that couple. And so the reason why I wanted to do this, and welcome to So in Love Sunday. This is the marriage edition of the Girl You Better podcast, which that podcast will be coming back this fall. And it will be coming back bigger and better. I'm so pleased with season 1, but season 2 is going to be amazing. So watch out for that. Tune in for that. Getting everything set up. Found a great little studio. And I'm just so excited about it, to be sharing some information and to have some extraordinary guests and some services and products and having people sponsor. I mean, it's going to be awesome, guys. But anyway, so on tonight, well, I keep saying tonight because usually I come on at night, but it's still the afternoon. But anyway, what I want to do is share with you 20 things that somebody should have told you before you walk down the aisle. And because I care, hi, yes, hi, Mike, hi, nephew, how are you? Because these things should have been shared with you. I am just going to run down a list of things, and they're not in order of importance, like number 20, number 1. I'm just listing 20 things. And not only that, this Tuesday, on the 28th of September, I will be celebrating 8 years of marriage. 8 years of marriage. Now, has it been easy? No. Has it been happy every single day, 365? Has there been, champagne and bubble baths and flowers sprinkled everywhere? And no. But has it been worth it? Absolutely. because there is a certain mindset that goes along with being married. And so, number one, what I want to share with you guys, and I hope you got your popcorn or your Sunday plate with your greens and everything on the plate, meatloaf, whatever that you're making. Anyway, but you may want to grab a pen and piece of paper. Number one, your words create skin. Your words create skin. And what that means is that our tongues, right? Like we talk, we say things, we respond, we begin conversations. But the thing is that when you're married, you have to be careful of the skin that you are creating with your tongue. And what I mean by that is because in the midst of, let's just say, maybe a disagreement or a discussion, something like that, what we say can do one of two things. It can create this ugly beast that has claws, that has horns, that has this barking tone, that has these snarling teeth, or we can create something beautiful. We can create affirmation. We can create a reminder of how important our spouse is to us when we speak to them, because we're careful about what we say. So remember this: in the midst of talking to your husband or your wife, whatever you say gets stored right up here. So just when you think somebody's not thinking about what you said last week or last month or how they said it, it's been on replay and you don't even know it. So do you want the things on replay that are going to make them feel good and reaffirm that they are important to you, that you care about them? Or are you going to say things that tear them down, that hurt them, that destroy them, that discredit them, and etc.? So you know what I mean. So number one, your words create skin. Nobody told me that before walking down the aisle. Number two, and this is going to seem a little funny, but I'm just throwing it out there because we're all grown, and if you're married, then you know where I'm about to hit. Okay, so number two, you should sleep naked. Oh, I said it. Yes, you should sleep naked. The reason being, I say this is because, and I'm not saying all the time, like just pick a couple of nights. You know, if that's not your thing, if you like sleeping in, you know, your beat up t-shirt or your long johns or whatever that it is, but just 3 or 4 nights, sleep nude. Because that way, that always assures and tells your spouse that you're accessible, that you're desired, that there's a big welcome sign. You know, don't get mad if your arm is getting dislocated at night because somebody is trying to take your shirt off, or somebody's tearing up your cute Victoria's Secrets, and busting the seams because you decide to come. I'm just saying, y'all, just be inviting. That's what you signed up for. It belongs to them. So sleep nude. It's healthy too. It's healthy for. I'm serious. Like you can go and Google it. You can look it up. It relieves stress. It's good for weight. It's good for metabolism. It's good for female reproductive. It has so many benefits. But when you're married, you're just naturally accessible, and that's how you just want to stay. Okay. All right. So number three, saying sorry when it's not your fault. Oh my God. I know somebody is about to turn over the table right now. I'm not going to say sorry. I know I was right. I know I wasn't wrong. Why should I say sorry? Sometimes you have to say sorry or take on that role when you know that it is for the best that it is said. Okay, sometimes you got to take one for the team. And I'm not saying all the time you're the only one who's saying sorry and your spouse or your wife or husband, like they're not accountable. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is put the fire out. Like put the fire out. Like just the back and forth, the back and forth, the back and forth. Just say, you know what? You was right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's just not. Sometimes you have to do that because when you don't and it continues to build and get heated and more heated and more heated, you go back to number one. Then you start saying stuff, or that person starts saying stuff that they probably didn't need to say, and now it's forever in your mind, it's forever in your heart, and it's just not a good thing. It's not. Okay. I think I was okay. On number 4, learn to ignore. Learn to ignore. Don't raise your blood pressure over the little stuff. Pick your battles wisely, like the little stuff. You know what I'm saying? For example, okay, um, like your preference. Okay, somebody didn't squeeze from the bottom. Somebody was in a rush, didn't make up the bed or whatever that, or they put the cup in the dishwasher the wrong way. And so now you just ready to go off. You ready to just blow up. You ready to go in. You didn't told them, whatever. What I'm saying is that pick your battles wisely. If it's just a little thing, if it's just just start to develop these two baskets of like what weighs more. What truly is this a huge thing that this person did that? Or is it really something that you could just overlook, keep it going? Maybe you can mention it like, baby, this one I forgot that you did such and such. Did you forget? And then, you can just address, but you don't have to go in, you don't have to go off. But a lot of us do that. Why do we do that? Like at the smallest thing. And the small things begin to build on the big things. And then that's what have you in divorce court because because you have a plethora of things in your head just continuously going that really don't mean a whole lot. The weight is not a whole lot. Could you had overlooked that? They left the fork on the counter and the dishwasher was going. Maybe they should have just put it in there, but they didn't. You know, number 5. I think I'm on 5. Marriage is a never ending job. Get that in your head. So if you haven't walked down the aisle yet, or you have, just know marriage is not the work doesn't stop. Like it doesn't stop. It's a continuous work that is worth it. But the thing is, as soon as you stop thinking that, oh, it's work, everything is on cruise control, I don't have to put in no effort, I don't have to say these things, I don't have to do this, we just here, we just gonna ride it out. She good, I'm good, or he good and I'm good. No, 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 no. Because as soon as you stop the work, like every day when you get up, there's work to be done. You may not want to say good morning. You may not want to go pay a bill. You may not want to, there's a lot of things that we just don't feel like doing. Like I don't feel like it today. I don't feel like it today. In marriage, there's no days off. No day. 365, you're on. And it's work, but it's so worth it. And if you just give that same consistency. What you have to do is be cognizant, and you have to. The reciprocation piece is just huge. It is so huge. And if you want something, you have to give something. And when you give something, then you're expecting something back, right? That's reciprocation. So you can't expect somebody to be giving you constantly something, and then the thing that they want, the very thing that they need, you do not do it. Oh, baby, you cracking open a window, you cracking open a door for somebody to creep on in, or even if somebody's not creeping in, I don't care if it's in the inbox, I don't care um if it's at work, I don't, whatever that it is, even if it's in their heart, they start to think, oh, maybe I can do better. Maybe I can do better. And sometimes that really is a real thing that you might have to walk out eventually after you have perhaps been to counseling, perhaps you have had the hard, long talks that go on and on. And for a person like me, man, I don't like long talks. I'm like, for me, it depletes my energy. That's just the way I'm set up. And so I would rather go ahead and hit the nails on the head. Like, what are we talking about? Okay, here's a problem. Can we get to resolution? That's just me. I don't want to go all the way around and back and then make the U-turn and go over all the details, but I understand and I begin to understand even more that sometimes that's important for other people. And not only that, it's important to you so that you can get it, so that you can fully understand. Okay. I think I have lost count, but I'm gonna just keep on going with what I think wherever I am. All right. Number 7. Sometimes you will crave alone time. Well, what you mean? I got married to spend all my time and all of my just everything with this person. What you mean? I'm gonna crave being alone. Sometimes you're gonna crave being alone for a moment, especially when you have a family. And the reason why I say that is because, okay, when you're single and you have this alone time to do whatever it is that you want, to go to take a nap. And I say take a nap because in my age group, that's important these days. Like taking a nap, that's top priority. But if there's certain things that you were just in a routine of doing for yourself, by yourself, or you didn't, or you really didn't even have to do anything like that, that honestly stops. Like, and the only reason why I say that stops is because sometimes somebody is looking at you to be something to them, to do something for them, to say something to them, and you may just feel like, you know what, I want to go enjoy a cup of coffee and a book somewhere, or you know what, I want to go play basketball. I want to go to the gym, or I would just love to just get back into my hobbies, and write music or poetry or whatever your thing is. I want to craft. I love craft. Whatever. You're going to crave some alone time, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's important to have a little bit of alone time so that you can recharge yourself, so that you can remind yourself of who you are. Because at the end of the day, yes, you are a husband, yes, you are a wife, but you are also a man, a woman. You're a man or a woman that has been uniquely created, and you have interests and you have your own desires and wants and everything. So it's okay. Don't feel guilty about craving some alone time. And I hope you're open enough to have those conversations where you feel like you're not being smothered, just to put it blunt. You know, are you being smothered and you're just like afraid to say something? Like you feel like you need 50 feet sometimes? You just need an hour to get yourself, together to go and put a smile on your own face. Nothing's wrong with that. Do that. But nobody's gonna tell you that before you walk down the aisle. Number 8, compromising. Compromising is a major, major thing. And if your compromising game is not together, then it's going to be a constant tug of war for you. You're always going to feel like things aren't fair. Well, that's not fair. Well, why can't I? Well, why shouldn't we? You have to compromise. You have you have compromising is a way. It's a tool that's used so that you can have some leverage when it comes to something that you may want or desire. So when you compromise, you're like, you know what? Okay, I'll do that. That's really not, but okay. That makes sense. We can do that. We can look into that because that should also be returned to you. You should also have that ability to be able to compromise or for your spouse to compromise with you with something that you need considered, that you need. I don't care if it's travel. I don't care if it's even about having another baby. I don't care if it's about selling the house, refinancing the house, purchasing the house, whatever that it is. Of course, it needs to make sense, but the compromising, the considerate, and what compromising does ultimately, it brings a consideration. I'm being considered. My thoughts are being considered. My feelings are being considered. That's what it dials back to. Okay. The next thing, sometimes you're not going to necessarily like each other. You're going to love each other, but you're not going to like each other all the time. And the only reason why like, she talking about, okay, there's a difference between love and like. You all agree with that. When you like somebody, like you can be around them anytime. You could talk to them anytime. Um, you can um just be. And what I mean just be, like even in a room, like nothing's being said, but everybody's cool. You just be. But when you don't like your husband or your wife at a certain moment in time, maybe because I don't know, they made you mad, maybe they did something, maybe they disappointed you. You don't like them. Like, you know what? I don't like you right now. I still love you. I love you. It's okay because that like is something that you may and like has a lot to do with being friends as well. So depending on how well you have both developed a good solid foundation relationship built around friendship, that's going to determine just how much you like or don't like your spouse, because you love them. There's a lot of people in divorce court, they love each other. They still love each other. They still have a lot of love for each other, but they don't like each other. I don't like you. And when you don't like somebody, what do you usually do? You start to create space. You start to create distance. You start to find reasons why you don't want to do something, why you don't want to no longer be something. You don't want to be of service to them, to him, her, whatever. Okay? And the next thing, give your marriage at least as much, or I would say this, give your marriage at least as much attention as you give to your hobbies, to your job, to whatever. Give that much attention, just as much as you love showing up for whatever it is that you really love to do, that you could probably just even do for free. Like, you really need to give that much attention also to your marriage. Because when you don't, and somebody feels like, oh, it's kind of cold, I feel like I'm on the back burner here. I'm not feeling as important. I'm not feeling as that attention, that I'm craving. And there's nothing worse than somebody who is craving your attention, and you already know why. It gives opportunity for somebody else to be that. I mean, there's a lot of people walking. There's billions of people in the world, and we have internet access, so we can contact whoever we want to right now. Somebody just hit me in my inbox and said, hey to you too. Nice for you to tap in. But and that's what I'm saying. Like, we're so accessible to other people that we have to make sure that we give that much attention to our marriage. Be in tune with what's going on. Like, have your eyes open. Have your eyes open, have your ears open at all times. And do those self-checks. Like, I know we all can think, oh, I'm doing good. She happy, I'm happy, we good. Sometimes you gotta do them self-checks. Sometimes you have to ask those questions on your performance. Hey, how am I? How are we doing? You still good? You happy, sweetie? Is there anything better I could be doing? Because as human beings, we evolve. And because we evolve, that means that we always have room to become better. And there's nothing wrong with becoming better, because we'll get to best. Those people who have been married 30, 40, 50 years, people like my in-laws and whatnot, I mean, they're at their best. They're at the home. They are at the pinnacle of marriage. What more can you get better at being in there 50 years, 60 years? Like, really, you can't. But during year 2, during year 5, during year 8, you can get better at things, because you know what? Sometimes we can get lazy, and not intentionally, but we can just get lazy because we get focused on other things. With my age group, okay, now we're grandparents. My peers, we are grandparents. We also have aging parents. So our attention can be here, it can be there, it can be everywhere. So pay attention. Next point I want to cover, I think this is number 12, 13. I don't know. I hope y'all been keeping track. Treat your spouse better than anybody else. It amazes me how people can treat a total stranger better than they treat their spouse. Like, that blows my mind. It blows my mind, because the very person that you share a bed with, hopefully y'all not down the hall and he's across the whatever. Maybe that is what y'all have decided is best. Maybe y'all have a his, hers, and ours room. I don't know. That's not my business. But you're sharing space with this person. You're sharing a roof with this person. You're doing life with this person. Why treat the people better at your job? Why treat strangers? Why treat the people at your church? Why treat your friends better than you would treat your spouse? Like, we can't do that. You can't do that. Even if you're in a season, and I'm gonna say this, even if you're in a season where you like, you know what? Like, divorce is on the mind, like, you know what? Or even when they come in the room, you get to the point where you come in and you like, because that can happen, that will happen. It's not wrong. It's just human nature. Um, what you have to do, you have to remind yourself, like I'm doing life with this person. So why not treat them? Why not treat them good? Why would I treat them bad? They gave me their heart. And for men, this is a very, very, that's why men wait to get married, because they know everything that they got to give up. Us ladies, we're most of us, I'm just saying the majority, usually, generally speaking, we're already like, we just been waiting. We want this. What's up? What's going on? Men tend to think a little bit more logically, because they realize all of what they are about to give up, and they're trying to make sure that they are doing it with the right woman, because they know living in the house with the wrong woman is going to be hell. Be hell. It's not going to be heaven. So again, this all goes back to saying, doing, being, showing up. The other thing I want to share is you are going to have to develop a big bucket of grace. Grace. That word GRACE. Let me tell you a little something about grace. And also, you like my shirt? Only a queen can keep her king focused. This shirt was made by Ariel Crawford, one of the coaches of Jives. Thank you so much, Ariel. And we are continuously praying for you and your family. Hope you are doing well and getting better. But anyway, what was I saying? Grace. Yes. You're going to have to develop, you're going to have a big, like your grace bucket. I don't even have no example. Your grace bucket is going to have to be big, because you know why? Because me, because you, because everybody that is listening, we're not perfect and we're going to fall short. But not only that, not only are we going to fall short and disappoint, but when you have verbally requested, now this is the frustrating part. Look, I had to clap on that. This is the frustrating part of marriages that people experience, which is when somebody has told you what they don't like, what they need, where they want to see the unit go and grow, and how that looks. And then somebody takes their everlasting time making changes. Oh, because you know why? Grace is something that was given to us. Now, you may not be a believer, but I am. So, excuse me if I offend you, but I do believe in God. Okay, and grace is something that He has extended to us. We don't get what we deserve. Your husband, your spouse, your husband, your wife does not get what they truly deserve after they have said something, did something, been the worst of whatever. They don't get what they deserve. You know why? Because of grace. Trying to allow somebody to get it right is something that comes along with marriage, because there's this space. Everybody doesn't come totally equipped, and you don't know that until you get into it and you start to do life together and you start to experience things and you start to realize, okay, I didn't know about that shortcoming there. Oh, I didn't realize that, oh, they could be this way, because you wasn't doing life together like that. But now that you are, you see that, whew, okay, I'm going to address it. I'm going to tell them about it. I'm going to give them some grace. But everybody's grace meter, like some people only have like, I'm going to give you that much of grace and you better get it right. And if you don't get it right, I'm walking out. And that's why we have something called irreconcilable differences or whatever, because sometimes people just couldn't get it right fast enough. You know what? You're just not what I thought you were. You're not what I thought you were going to be to me and what I needed. So I think we should go our, separate ways. And we do that way too often without fighting, without using tools, without using patience and grace and everything that has been given to us. Another thing I want to talk about is that when you get married to the in-laws. You get married to their family. That's what I mean. And a lot of people have problems with some of their in-laws. And they didn't realize that, you know what? I didn't know that my mother-in-law was gonna be like this. I didn't know that her sister was gonna be over at our house almost every day and chilling. Like, I really would like to spend some time with my wife, but her sister is always over here and taking her away and want her to do this and want her to go that and go on this trip and do this and that. Um, you marry the family. So it would be a real good idea if you create boundaries. Because now that you have walked down the aisle and you didn't know that Uncle such and such has, you know, has a, I don't know, a drinking problem. And so, you know, he may need to come over to the house and sober up, and or you don't know that it's just all these things, okay, that are in, you didn't know that the auntie was so insulting. Like she insults for no reason. That's like her thing. That's how she's known, and everybody accepts that auntie just insults everybody. But you're not cool with that because your family was, y'all don't do that. Y'all don't roll like that. Who you talking to? Your in-laws. They may be some of the most wonderful people, but then they may be some of the most un 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 what's the word? You just might not like it. Okay. You are going to have to create boundaries with your spouse that they too can understand that, you know what, for the family gatherings, for holidays or whatever, I you have these rules in place, whatever works for you, but you have to create those boundaries in your marriage when it comes to um in-laws that will test your gangster. You don't want your gangster tested like that. You don't want to cut nobody at the dinner table. But anyway, I'm gonna keep it moving. Um, ego. Do you got an ego? Does he have an ego? Do you got an ego? Because the egos, they gotta go. I'm sorry. Egos, they don't vanish, but you learn to settle. So that's an important note, and I would suggest that you make this note. We all have to learn to settle and to take in all the positivity we can to keep the wheels running. Okay. There's a certain amount of the ego that men typically would have. Women, we have a different type of ego. And living with those egos, there's certain strategies that you're going to have to put in place for yourself because most likely, um, most likely, that is something that is not typically, like I said, it's not going to change. You can bring it to their attention if it's something that is truly, honestly getting in the way of you both connecting, but it typically it's not going to change. But with counseling and with coaches, we learn how to deal with egos and manage them because we all have an ego. It's just finding out what that ego is, who that ego is. There's a personality that goes along. There's habits that goes along with that ego. There's typical responses that go along with that ego. And so you're going to have to learn ways to manage the ego. Okay. Also, what I want to share is your marriage will never be boring. I don't know how anybody ever says, oh, I'm so bored being married. How are you bored being married? And I don't think that necessarily marriage is boring. It's the dynamic between the two people that gets boring. Okay. So you can't make this generalization that marriage is so boring. No. You have to figure out a way. Y'all both have to talk and communicate and talk about those things that you used to do or that you want to do or that you want to experience or explore. Um, but marriage should never be boring because there's so much there's so much life that is going on between. I mean, it's like it's like a roller coaster. It's like a roller coaster. There's ups, there's downs, there's turns, there's everything. So marriage is never boring. It's just the dynamic between the two that has become boring for one or maybe for both. And if that's so, do something about it. You just can't say that person's boring. They don't ever want to do nothing. They don't ever want to go. They don't ever want to see. They don't never. Okay, so what do they want to do? What can we do? That's that compromise that comes. What can we do? You know, have that list because when you get bored, when you are truly bored and you're saying, you know what, I'm bored with this, and guess what happens? Your mind starts thinking of ways to entertain itself. You start to think of ways to entertain yourself. And it creates this unhealthy distance eventually. To where you look at one day and you're like, you know what? I don't even know this person. I hear a lot of couples say like, I don't know him anymore. I don't know her anymore. Why did that happen? What happened? What day, what hour, what month did it happen when you stopped knowing who you were with? Track it, figure it out. You can always track it, backtrack it, think, have that discussion. Hey, when did this happen? Well, it was when this began. It was when that happened. It was when you started saying these things, and I felt like I didn't know you. Get to continuously knowing, because as we age, we do change a little bit. I mean, we're pretty much who we are, but we change. We do change a little bit, but the beauty of marriage is that you should be changing together and celebrating those differences, those changes that happen, and making them work for you, not not them working against you, but making it work for you. All right. Another thing that I wanted to share is that your plans might get canceled. You thought you was going, huh? Oh, let me tell you. Okay, your plans might get altered or canceled or changed. You know why? There will be sudden guests that are going to come along. There's going to be a commitment which needs to be met, and you cannot refuse it. Plans do get hit. Like you had all the plans. Like you probably had this plan last month, 2 weeks ago, whatever. But I tell you what, when you get that call or you get that text, hey, I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to do this because I gotta stay late at work. You know what? I'm caught in traffic. Or you know what? I'm not gonna be able to pick up the kids in time, before the cynical or whatever that it is. Your plans are gonna change and they're gonna get altered, and you cannot get pissed about it. You cannot get mad about it. You know why? Because the first obligation is the obligation that you have to your household. It ain't to your friends. Now, sometimes maybe you can work something out with somebody else, girl. But man, shoot, now I gotta do this. Let me try to figure something out real quick so I can still make it, so I can still go. Or when you have those extra sudden guests, and sometimes you may not necessarily, not now, hopefully, you have a tribe that tribes together, and so there's not any uncomfortable people that usually that might pop up or show up, but that might happen too. Such and such is going kind of through a bad time, and it would be great for them just to come along or come over, or you know, um, we were. I know, City, that we had this plan, but you know what? I think it would be a good idea to have both of them come, and then that way and for big-hearted people, that's what we always do. We want to make sure everybody is good. But guess what? Sometimes you wear yourself out. You wear yourself out trying to make sure every single body is good. Sometimes you got to make sure you are good first. And then we worry about everybody else. Okay? That's just extra food for thought. Anyway, it's 3:49. I didn't realize I've been talking this long. Okay, I'm gonna give you a few more points. Hopefully they have added up to 20 or more. But I will say this. It's important also for you to learn how to adore. Like absolutely adore your wife or your husband. You got to adore them. You know why? Showing adoration and showing that they are the only thing that is in your eye, like your affections are just like set truly on them and you truly adore them. You want to see them happy. You are invested in their happiness because you know what? Because it makes you happy. But ultimately, I will say this. Here's another point. Happiness doesn't come from other people. Happiness comes from within. So if you are putting on pressure, because that's even another point. I got so many points, y'all. It's ridiculous. But I'm going to share this one last thought with you. Happiness comes from within. And if you are adding pressure to your wife or your husband to make me happy, you don't make me happy. You got to make me happy. Then you're ultimately looking for things outwardly to make you happy. But you know what? Things outwardly will maybe not show up, will maybe dysfunction, will maybe disappoint. But when you have happiness that is coming and flowing from within continuously, then there's not a person in the world that steals your happiness or can press the button or influence your happiness like that. They add to your happiness. They add already to your state of happiness. But nobody is responsible for making you happy. And I think there's a lot of couples that do not understand that. But they need to because otherwise they they are in this constant puddle of or constant walking around this cloud, just rain, just rain. Oh, such and such don't make me happy. I don't know. Just don't make me happy. People can add to your happiness. Are you happy? Number one, are you happy? Not looking at what they are or are not doing to make you happy. Are you happy? You consider that first. And once you consider that and you start to do some work and figure out, you know what? I'm not happy. I'm not happy with myself because of A, B, C, D, all of the above, or A and C, whatever that it is. But sometimes you got to do that work in your head to really figure out, is it them or is it me? And sometimes you may be surprised. It's you. I'm sorry. Sorry I had to tell you that it's you. Sometimes it's you. Anyway, I am going to stop sharing these tips for right now. I'm getting ready to go and work out with my Commit Fitness tribe, and I am so looking forward to this fellowship where we're doing this constant self-care. I like to be around people who self-care. You know why? Because they encourage me to care for myself. So if you don't have people around you that actually do do things that improves their lives by the way that they care for themselves, then you need to reevaluate who you are hanging around. Because I love people who self-care. I'd be like, girl, give me a tip. Or man, for real? That's what you do? You meditate, what you breathe, what you get up early, I mean, it's just this constant thing of taking care, because right now in the world in which we live, being married, and this will be my last point. So when everything goes south, when the world is falling freaking apart, you should be able to have your husband or your wife right there by your side. Y'all picking up the pieces together, or they're helping picking up the pieces for you with whatever has gone on. But when everything goes south, that's the one. This is the number one huge perk of marriage, is that you got somebody who got your back. They have your back all the time. They got your back. They ain't going nowhere. Okay? So that's what we want in the end, is that longevity. The very last thing that I want to close with is this. When your spouse has taken their last breath has left their body, their soul has gone on, will you be able to say, I loved them to no end, and I loved them to the very best that all of what my being could? Can can you have peace in your heart that you did right by them? Not that you walked it out perfectly all the time, but that you truly gave them and were to them everything that they needed you to be. And if you right now are thinking, man, no, I can't say that right now, then you got some work to do. Maybe you have some apologizing to do. Maybe you have some soul searching to do. Maybe you have some counseling or coaching that you might need to do. Either way, I just want to be able to say, well done. Well done, Ronita. Besides God saying well done, I want to be able to say well done for the people in my life that I love and that I love on. Anyway, this has been a special edition, marriage edition of Girl, You Better podcast, which will be back in full effect here later in October. You all have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful week, you all. And I enjoyed this time with you. Bye.